Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is your focused look at current events, specifically curated for you, our dedicated UPSC aspirant.
That's right.
It's August 26th, 2025, and this is part one of today's update. We know your time is valuable, so we're jumping straight into the key developments. We want to pull out those essential insights you need. Now, some topics might seem familiar, a good chance for revision, perhaps, while others might be new. Let's get started.
Absolutely. Our goal today is really to connect the dots, isn't it? Across, space tech, environment security, economy. It's not just what happened, but the why and the implications. Really building that analytical framework.
Okay, let's kick things off with space. India's program just keeps accelerating, it feels like. We've just had news about the Gaganyaan mission, the integrated airdrop test, IADWS. What's the big deal here?
Well, what's really interesting, I think, is that IADWS was a joint effort. You had ISRO, IAF, DRDO, Navy, Coast Guard, all working together.
Wow, quite the team.
Yeah. And it successfully tested the parachute deceleration system. That's absolutely critical for getting our astronauts back safely. So it validates a really key piece of the Gaganyaan puzzle.
Okay, that makes sense. A critical safety component.
Precisely. And ISRO is already looking ahead, preparing for the next test, TVD-2, the second test vehicle demo, and then the first uncrewed mission, G1.
Right. So this multi-agency collaboration, it shows how complex these missions are. But thinking about astronaut return, what's usually the toughest engineering nut to crack? Is it the parachutes, the G-forces? How did IADT-01 move the needle?
That's a great question. Look, it's all challenging, but the precision needed for a multi-stage parachute system, deploying at exactly the right moment, handling those massive G-forces during deceleration. It's incredibly complex.
Right.
IADT-01 specifically validated the design and the reliability of that system under pretty realistic conditions.
Okay.
So it significantly reduces the risk for that critical reentry phase.
Okay, so a major de-risking step. So with that test done, remind us what's the overall aim for Gaganyaan?
So putting it in context, Gaganyaan is India's bid to show independent human spaceflight capability.
Okay.
That means sending a crew, 3 members, to a 400-kilometer orbit. They'll be up there for 3 days, and then, crucially, ensuring their safe return.
And the vehicle?
It'll use the human-rated LVM-3, the HLV-M3. That's basically India's heavy lifter, what we used to call the GSLV Mk3.
Ah, yes.
But reconfigured specifically for human rating. It's got that robust 3-stage design, solid, liquid, and cryogenic.
And it feels like Gaganyaan is just one part of a much bigger picture now, especially after National Space Day on August 23rd. The ambitions seem huge.
Absolutely. And this really points to India's long-term space roadmap. The Union Minister for Science and Tech laid out some really ambitious goals.
Look what?
The Bharat Antariksh Station, India's own space station, proposed by 2035.
Wow.
And the really big one, putting an astronaut on the moon by 2040.
On the moon by 2040.
Yes. And that's being framed, as a symbolic marker for India becoming a developed nation. Plus, there are other missions planned, Chandrayaan for a Venus mission.
It's quite a lineup.
It is. And if Gaganyaan succeeds, India becomes only the 4th nation with human spaceflight capability. A very elite club.
An astronaut on the moon. I mean, that's the stuff of science fiction for many of us growing up. To see India aiming for it, it's quite something.
What's the vibe in the scientific community? Is it seen as achievable?
There's definitely a buzz, excitement, but also focused determination. It's seen as challenging, for sure, but also as a powerful catalyst.
A catalyst for innovation.
Exactly. Not just in space, but across related fields. It forces us to build capability from the ground up.
Right. And these huge space goals, Gaganyaan, the moon landing, they're not just about science, are they? They scream national capability, indigenous innovation, manufacturing strength.
Precisely.
Which brings us neatly to another big theme. India's push to become a product nation. What does that actually mean? And why now? Okay, so a product nation. Fundamentally, it's a country that makes and exports a lot of high-value goods. It's about shifting from being mostly an importer to being a major producer.
Making things, not just services.
Making things, but specifically innovating, manufacturing, and exporting stuff driven by IP, intellectual property. So things based on unique designs, patents, software that India owns.
Ah, the ownership aspect is key.
Absolutely. And the why now? Well, the current global situation, conflicts, trade tensions, tariffs, it's really created a strong consensus that India needs to make this shift.
It feels strategically vital moving beyond services. What are the core drivers for this shift right now?
Well, there are several big ones. First, strategic leverage. If your products are critical globally, think Taiwan and chips or China and rare earths, you have more influence.
Makes sense.
Second, grabbing a bigger slice of the global supply chain, creating India's own branded high-value products through our own IP-protected designs. And third, just basic economic resilience. An economy strong in manufacturing and innovation is much better equipped to handle global economic shocks.
Those are clear advantages, but lots of countries want to be product nations. What's the maybe hidden challenge, the real key for India to actually pull this off?
That's a really sharp point. It's not just about factories. A huge part of it is shifting our mindset, becoming less risk-averse, fostering real innovation.
Accepting failure as part of the process.
Exactly, and being really aggressive about protecting our intellectual property. That cultural shift, creating an ecosystem where new ideas can actually thrive and are safe, that's arguably just as important as any government scheme.
Culture change alongside policy. That's interesting. So what concrete steps are being taken? What's the path forward?
Well, the government has rolled out several key initiatives. The PLI schemes, production-linked incentives across 14 critical sectors are a big one, trying to boost domestic manufacturing.
Right, we hear a lot about PLI.
Then there's the DLI scheme design-linked incentive, specifically for semiconductor design. Financial help, infrastructure support, plus major innovation drives. The National Quantum Mission, ADL Innovation Mission, AI Mission, and the National Logistics Policy to make everything move more efficiently.
So a multi-pronged approach.
Yes, and looking ahead, it involves building global partnerships, maybe like with Taiwan, for manufacturing expertise, really prioritizing R&D, investing in skills and education, and smoothing out policy and regulation hurdles for manufacturers.
Okay, let's shift gears. Moving from those global ambitions down to some grassroots challenges. There's an important report from the Standing Committee on Agriculture looking at the NDDB's role in protecting indigenous cattle breeds. What's the situation with our native breeds' productivity?
Right, so India officially recognizes 53 indigenous cattle breeds and 21 buffalo breeds. Now, their average milk productivity has increased. It's around 3.5 kilograms per day for cattle, nearly 6 kilograms for buffaloes as of 2023-24.
Okay, some improvement.
But, and this is the key point, it's still way lower than exotic or crossbred cattle, which average over 8.5 kilograms a day. And compared to international benchmarks like Israel or the US, well, the gap is huge.
That is a stark difference. The report mentions reasons like limited AI coverage. But we've had initiatives for years, haven't we? Why do these basic issues persist? Is it funding, execution, maybe resistance on the ground?
That's a very perceptive question, and it's likely a mix of all those things. Limited artificial insemination coverage, only about 30% of breedable animals, and a major shortage of AI technicians. That points to both funding and real implementation problems, especially reaching remote areas.
Right.
And scalability is tough. Over 80% of these indigenous animals are with small, marginal farmers, even landless laborers. For them, adopting new techniques isn't just about incentives. It needs sustained support, education. It's a massive logistical task.
So given these deep-rooted issues, what's the committee recommending? How do we actually protect and improve these breeds?
The committee has some specific suggestions. One is revising the criteria for defining critical breeds, setting a minimum population of 50,000.
Why that number?
It ensures a large enough group for effective genomic selection and acts as a buffer against diseases wiping out a breed.
Okay.
They also want inclusive breed improvement programs covering dominant breeds from all states, not just replacing them with a few high yielders. And crucially, they're calling for accountability for failures in semen production and distribution, and making sure sex-sorted semen is available.
Accountability is key. And what programs are already running that these recommendations would build on?
There are several important ones. The Rashtriya Gokul Mission, or RGM, started back in 2014. That's a major one for indigenous breed development.
Right, RGM.
Then you have accelerated breed improvement programs using things like IVF and sex-sorted semen. There are genomic selection tools, DE-SHIP for cattle, May-SHIP Sodalase for buffaloes, to speed up genetic improvement.
Using tech.
Exactly. And finally, the Hort Pashudhan app. It's a digital platform to manage livestock ID, breeding, health records, trying to integrate everything.
Okay. Let's switch tracks again to another critical area, sustainable development and the environment. The Supreme Court made a significant ruling on sand mining clearances. What happened there?
Yes, the Supreme Court upheld a decision by the National Green Tribunal, the NGT, which had canceled a 2022 sand mining approval in Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay.
And in doing so, the court strongly observed that replenishment data studying how fast the sand naturally refills is mandatory for environmental clearance. It's needed in addition to the District Survey Report, or DSR.
So the DSR alone isn't enough.
Exactly. The court said without a proper replenishment study, the DSR is basically defective. It doesn't have the core data to figure out how much sand can be sustainably taken out.
It sounds like basic common sense, doesn't it? Don't take out more than nature puts back. Is there a simple way to think about this natural regeneration principle? And what happens if we ignore it?
Absolutely. It's like forestry. You shouldn't cut down trees faster than they regrow. Same idea for sand. You need that recharge study to keep the river system balanced.
And the consequences of ignoring it.
Pretty severe. Unchecked sand mining leads to serious riverbank erosion, loss of habitat for fish and other aquatic life. It can lower groundwater levels, damage aquifers, reduce biodiversity, and actually increase flood risks because the riverbed gets destabilized. The Deepak Kumar versus State of Haryana case really highlighted these dangers.
Right. That was a landmark case. So what's the overall legal framework governing sand mining that this ruling reinforces?
It's multi-layered. You have the Maine Environment Protection Act, 1986. Then the Deepak Kumar judgment from 2012 made environmental clearance mandatory for minor minerals like sand.
Okay.
The EIA notification was amended in 2016, bringing in cluster assessments and making replenishment studies part of the DSR. And then specific sustainable sand mining guidelines came out in 2016 and 2020, explicitly requiring calculation of the annual replenishment rate. So it's been building towards this data-driven approach.
Got it. Now, from environmental protection to national protection, DRDO's hit the headlines with successful tests of the Integrated Air Defense Weapons System, IADWS. Why is this system so important?
The IADWS is designed to provide multiple layers of defense. It integrates surveillance, threat identification, and various weapon systems to detect and destroy incoming threats.
What kind of threats?
A whole range, long-range missiles, aircraft, drones, UAVs. It creates like a comprehensive shield, basically, for our borders and critical installations.
Sounds incredibly advanced. What are the key bits, the components that make up this multi-layered shield?
It's a real system of systems. You've got the indigenous quick reaction surface-to-air missiles, QRSAM. That's a DRDO short-range system, great for protecting moving armored units.
Okay.
Then there are the VSRADS missiles, very short-range air defense system. These are man-portable, developed by RCI for taking out low-flying threats at close range.
Man-portable, wow.
Yeah. And then there's a high-power, laser-based directed energy weapon, a DDW.
A laser weapon.
Essentially, yes. Developed by Chess. It engages targets at the speed of light, aiming to cause structural damage.
Yep.
And all of this, the missiles, the laser, the sensors, is integrated and controlled by a centralized command and control center from DRDL, which is the lead lab for the whole IADWS program.
Fascinating tech. Staying near the borders, there have been changes related to the free movement regime, the FMR, along the India-Myanmar border. What's the latest there?
Right. So Assam Rifles has apparently mapped about 42,000 Myanmar nationals who came into India under the FMR. Now, the FMR itself was this bilateral deal formalized in 2018.
What did it allow?
It let tribes living along the border cross up to 16 kilometers into either country without passports or visas, just for short visits, trade, meeting family.
Okay.
But back in February 2024, the Union Home Minister announced they were withdrawing the FMR, citing security and demographic concerns. Though the formal notification to scrap it hasn't actually happened yet, it seems.
So it's announced but not officially scrapped yet. In the meantime, what's the system for crossing now, and what does this mean for the local people?
Well, in December 2024, the government brought in a new system. Assam Rifles now issues single-entry passes. These are only valid for 7 days and only within a 10-kilometer limit.
More restrictive.
Much more. And you have to return the pass at the same crossing point. So controls are significantly tighter than the old FMR. For the local communities, especially those with deep cross-border ties, this is likely causing disruption to traditional livelihoods. It needs careful handling.
Definitely a sensitive issue. Okay, let's turn to a global ecological threat. Invasive species. A new study highlights their economic impact. What did it find?
The numbers are staggering, really. The study estimated that damage from invasive plants and animals spreading into new areas has cost the world over $2.2 trillion.
Trillion, wow.
Yeah. And plants were found to be the most costly group, followed by arthropods, insects, spiders, that sort of thing, and then mammals. Just to clarify, invasive species are basically organisms not native to an area that spread rapidly and disrupt the local balance.
Can you give us some common Indian examples? Makes it more real.
Sure. Think of Lantana camera, that shrub that chokes forests. Or Parthenium, Congress grass, spreading in fields. water hyacinth, Icornia crassipes, clogging up ponds and lakes, and even the African catfish, which outcompetes our native fish.
Right, those are familiar problems. Beyond the obvious costs, what's a more subtle long-term impact of invasives that we might miss? And how does that affect how we try to control them?
That's a good point. A subtle but critical impact is what biologists call ecosystem homogenization. Basically, as the same successful invasive species spread worldwide, they push out unique, local species.
So everywhere starts to look the same, ecologically.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
We lose that distinct local biodiversity, which underlines why control strategies have to focus heavily on preventions. Stricter checks on trade, travel, shipping, managing ballast water in ships.
Stopping them before they arrive.
Ideally. Then there's direct control biological methods using natural enemies, mechanical removal, chemical pesticides, herbicides. And finally, eradication and restoration, trying to completely remove them, especially early on, and then help the native ecosystem recover.
Okay. Linked to ecology and agriculture, another study looked at the impact of burning crop residue on biodiversity. What were the key findings there?
This is really important for farming practices. The study confirmed that burning crop residue, the stuff left after harvest, depletes soil nutrients, which harms long-term productivity.
Okay, we knew that. What else?
The air pollution from burning also disrupts insects and birds, messing with their ecological roles. But crucially, it causes a big decline in natural predators in the fields: spiders, ladybirds, frogs, even earthworms.
So it kills off the good guys.
Exactly, which upsets the whole ecosystem balance in the field and can have knock-on effects up the food web. It creates a real dilemma for farmers needing to clear land quickly versus maintaining long-term soil and ecological health.
A tough balance. Okay, let's move into our rapid-fire round, also in news. Quick takes on other important developments. First, the Kursk region in Russia.
Right. There was a report of a Ukrainian drone attack causing a brief fire at the Kursk nuclear power plant. The Kursk region itself is in European Russia, bordering Ukraine, famous for the Battle of Kursk and WWII.
The big tank battle.
That's the one. It's also home to the Kursk magnetic anomaly, huge iron ore deposits.
Okay. Next, a positive one. The International Big Cat Alliance, IBCA.
Yes, Nepal has officially joined the IBCA. This is the India-led initiative launched in April 2023, marking 50 years of Project Tiger.
And its goal?
Global conservation of 7 big cats. Tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar, and puma. India hosts the Secretariat, and Nepal makes it 13 member countries now.
Good news for conservation. Now, a natural event, Mount Kilauea.
Kilauea volcano in Hawaii erupted again recently, specifically in the Halemaumau crater within the national park. It's one of the world's most active volcanoes.
What's special about this eruption?
It's showing episodic lava fountaining, which apparently hasn't been seen like this since the mid-'80s, plus high levels of volcanic gases, water vapor, CO2, sulfur dioxide.
Right. A historical figure for revision, Vithalbhai Patel.
The All India Speakers Conference marked 100 years since he became the first elected Indian president of the Central Legislative Assembly back in August 1925.
And he's significant.
Elder brother of Sardar Patel. A key political leader, lawyer, social reformer. He co-founded the Swaraj Party with Motilal Nehru, and C.R. Das was mayor of Bombay, a major figure in the freedom movement.
Important figure. Back to space tech. The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST.
IADWS, the Big Infrared Space Telescope launched in late 2021 by NASA, yet CSA has found another moon around Uranus, the 29th one.
Another moon.
Yep, temporarily called S2025U1. Remember, JWST orbits the sun way out at the L2 Lagrange point, not Earth-like Hubble. Its job is studying cosmic history from the Big Bang to planet formation.
Incredible instrument. And a defense tech update. The X-Guard FOTD system.
The X-Guard fiber optic towed decoy. Reports suggest India deployed this AI-enabled system during Operation Sindoor. It's an Israeli system from Rafael.
What does it do?
It's towed behind an aircraft and works with the plane's electronic warfare systems to basically confuse or spoof enemy radars. It's designed to defeat sophisticated radar threats. Very versatile, works at different altitudes, speeds, and it's retractable.
Advanced countermeasures. Lastly, a significant Supreme Court ruling on the Consumer Protection Act.
Yes, the court ruled that consumer forums can enforce all their orders, not just interim ones, treating them essentially like decrees from a civil court.
Why is that significant?
It corrects an amendment from 2002 to the old 1986 Act, which had limited the forum's enforcement powers. Of course, the 1986 Act has now been replaced by the Consumer Protection Act 2019, which set up the CCPA and generally aims to strengthen consumer rights and simplify processes.
Empowering consumers.
Right.
Phew, that was quite a deep dive. We've covered a lot today, from space ambitions and the product nation idea down to environmental rules, security tech, farming issues. Each of these holds real relevance for your UPSC prep, offering not just facts, but those crucial connections between different areas.
Absolutely. And if you look at the bigger picture, you see this multi-pronged effort in India, don't you? Pushing for growth and self-reliance, but also grappling with sustainability and security.
Right.
Which raises a fascinating question, I think. How well can we integrate these different strands? For instance, could the AI developed for, say, that IADWS system be used to better manage sand replenishment studies in real time?
Okay.
Or maybe optimize indigenous cattle breeding programs?
Applying tech across sectors.
Exactly. That kind of cross-pollination, finding those unexpected applications that could really define India's innovative capacity going forward. Something to think about.
That's a great final thought, connecting those dots in new ways.
Good.
Okay, keep mulling that over. That's it for our deep dive into current affairs for August 26th, 2025, Part 1. We really hope this gave you a clear, concise, and useful overview, maybe sparked a few aha moments. If you found it valuable, please do hit that like button and subscribe.
Yes, please do.
It helps us keep bringing this analysis to you. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep striving for excellence.